What's up, everyone? Yeah, I know what happened between myself and this channel. I'm not going to mention it, but the channel, you know the logo right there. It is back, and they're talking. He's talking, along with several other YouTubers. And they are, but what they have to talk about is legitimate relative news that's happening right now. But why now? I mean, you think about it. We've got all of this. They picked now during when there's so many other things going on. They picked now to talk about the UFOs and take it seriously in mainstream media. This channel here fits the mainstream narrative, to be honest with you. And his channel, it fits the mainstream narrative. And he was saying that they're going to be making a big reveal very soon. And then all these things happened to him, and suddenly now what he said is happening. Of course, I was saying the same thing. He said something to me, well, during a live stream I personally didn't like, but that's water under the bridge, is the past. But the fact that we're seeing this stuff in mainstream news it's any other time it would have been something huge. It would have been like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. But the fact that these images and videos are coming out now makes it less amazing, to be honest with you, because it fits the narrative that they're putting out. And there's something about it that I feel is part of the deception. Now, I know others have talked to me about this, and I feel the same way. What I've witnessed is different. Honestly, what I've witnessed these things that will appear when you ask them to. They're aware of you, you're aware of them, and they know what you're doing. Whether it's the creatures or the crafts or objects. What I witness is different. But what the mainstream media is putting out, I don't really trust. This was on CBS 8.
In diameter sphere that traveled alongside the Omaha for about an hour. It was pitch black outside.
This thing was 6 feet long, and they said it was 6 feet in diameter or so, and it was pitch black outside, so they had to turn on night vision. They said it followed along their ships and the planes and did maneuvers that were impossible, back and forth, seemingly against our laws of understanding of the laws of physics. And they said seemingly they just dropped down into the ocean. They're making themselves known now more than ever. They said people are seeing these things now more than ever. But here's another thing. They are also pointing out that they are the ones. This stuff has been here this whole time. We've all witnessed it. We knew this stuff happened, but yet they are putting out a narrative now that they want. They wait for the time that they wanted to reveal it. Now they also have all this technology to cause things to seem like they're happening as well, and then they decide to reveal it. They showed it literally right before our eyes, the holographic technology. They showed all of this stuff before our eyes, and then they suddenly decide later to, and they made us seem like we were just, oh, Bubba J over so-and-so. Bubba J done did see UFO out there in the sky. He's drinking too much, and he just had a little bit too much to drink. Or he was on a little something. That's what they always made it look like. Shoot, that guy over there? Nah, dadgum, he just saw it. All he did was all it was just a flying frisbee. And he saw the frisbee that someone was throwing and had a little too much and hallucinated. That's what they made it seem like every time. Bubba J was just hallucinating down the road. Or if you saw a Sasquatch, they'd be like, oh, that just your, all you were doing was seeing your hairy relative. That was just your hairy relative. And then they started actually making it seriously. Now, stuff like that's being taken seriously with documentaries and, documentary series on YouTube. You see Sasquatch documentary. Alien, Bigfoot, alien. Well, before, we were made fun of for witnessing Sasquatch. And don't get me wrong, yes, this stuff exists. Yes, it exists. I wholeheartedly believe it. I witness it. But they're starting to put a narrative to the forefront, pushing it. And they're pushing their explanation for Sasquatch or Bigfoot, like, oh, it's a Neanderthal being that's just evolved at a whatever. That's not what I've witnessed. I've witnessed something beyond what I can explain. It's supernatural and paranormal, interdimensional. Whenever I witness a lot of Sasquatch activity, paranormal activity ensues with it, and usually somehow relates to even my thoughts. And here's another thing about this UFO activity. The mainstream media is pushing it now because it fits a particular narrative that they're wanting to put forward that they have planned. And yeah, I've witnessed these things. But what they're putting forward is a whole other thing.
At precisely 11 p.m., the unidentified sphere seemingly vanished into the ocean.
They said this seemingly.
When they say splash,
They said it seemingly vanished into the ocean, and this stuff is suddenly being put forward by the mainstream media right now. Well, before my point is they just made fun of us when we witnessed things. The news would just laugh and make a joke out of it, and said, yeah, or maybe not. It was just a weather balloon. That's what they did. Every time they talked about it, they would laugh and make a joke out of it. Even though, yes, the previous administration, Mr. T, did sign a bill saying, apparently, that they have to present this evidence. So the Pentagon actually had task force meetings last year. They even made a task force, the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, and they actually put this stuff forward. And yeah, that's what now they're actually even having spirit stuff on the news. But they never took us seriously when we witnessed these things, ever.
Filmmaker Jeremy Corbell obtained the video from sources he declines to identify in April.
See?
Corbell and Mystery Wire.
I've seen these things before.
Startling images that are included.
I've seen all of these things.
Prepared by the UAP Task Force, a unit created by Congress last year.
Last year, Congress created the UAP Task Force, and they said they put it all together to reveal to the public. UFOs, they're going to reveal to the public.
The report due next month.
The report is due next month.
The task force considers it to be a genuine unknown. Other journalists have confirmed that multiple Navy ships in the same vicinity were buzzed by unknown objects during the same time frame, July 2019. Corbell says as many as 14 of the spheres surrounded the Omaha and were detected on sensors on and off during 3 perplexing days at sea.
During 3 days at sea, over 14 of these unknown objects or crafts were surrounding our military helicopters. Our military ships. And they said it was a frightening experience. You can see right there, one of them in the Antarctic was taking off at incredible high rates of speed. Impossible to repeat, impossible to maneuver. It became 2. It turned into 2 objects, and then just darted down into the ocean and vanished down into the water. And this was at night, so it's in thermal imaging mode. They act in ways that are just, they don't fit the traditional understanding of, well, anything. Which I've witnessed. I've witnessed many of these things before. But the news is just now taking it seriously, and there's something up with that. Something majorly up with that. How this is just now being taken seriously. And then Tyler from Security Mirror went on to point out these objects on Mars, as have been detected and talked about online, several monolith situations, and an object with a possible entrance, a structure with a possible entrance there. Kind of interesting. So yeah, Peace. Signing out.